anyone who is looking to make a quick money shouldn't go into writing.
No.
Okay, that's good.
Definitely, because I was working full time and writing. I said writing isn't something you do because you're looking for money. I always tell people writing is something that you do because you can't imagine yourself living without doing it.
Today I have with me here in the studio Ola Awunobi. Ola is a writer, an author of several books. But before we proceed, let me read a brief biography of Ola Awunobi. Ola Awunobi was born in North London to Nigerian parents. She went to Nigeria as a child and returned in the 90s and has worked in several secretarial roles. At the age of 40, she rekindled her childhood dreams of becoming a writer and went back to university to get an MA in creative writing. Her short story, The Pink House, won first prize in the 2008 National Word of Color competition, and another short story of hers, The Go Slow Journey, won the first prize in the fiction category for Queen Mary Wasafari's New Writing Prize 2009, and the Best Author CA Award 2019. Author of 8 books, including Love's Persuasion, Love Me Unconditionally, an anthology of short stories, Niger Love Stories, and a contemporary romance, Lovers, Leavers, and Keepers. Her recent book, A Nurse's Tale, was published by her publisher, One More Chapter Books, HarperCollins, in July 2023, and in US, Canada in July 2024, and was recently on the historical fiction bestseller chart for the Globe and Mail in Canada. Ola Awunobi, you're welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, my first question is, when and how did your interest in writing start?
My interest in writing started as a child, growing up in England in the 1970s, trying to find books where I could find someone who looked like me. I was basically searching for a princess that looked like me, looking for princesses, looking in princess books. Cinderella didn't look like me. All the princesses I could find didn't look like me. So that was why I started writing short stories about princesses that looked like me. And that's how I started. That's what inspired me. And then when I went back to Nigeria in my early teens, I found myself really relating to the works of Buchi Emecheta, Second Class Citizen, all the stories that she wrote about what it was like, being a black person in the 70s in the UK. Okay. And then from there, reading Chinua Achebe, reading Cyprian Akwenzi, and all the books from the African Writers series, they really inspired me as well. Made me want to be a writer. So.
Okay, during the year 2008 and 2009, you won 2 prizes. One for short story and the Pink House.
And the Go Slow Journey.
Words of Color
competition.
Yeah, correct. So why back to back?
I just love writing short stories. When I first came back to the country and wanted to start writing again, I went to my writing tutor and said, let me start trying to write a novel. And he advised start writing from the short form, because when you can actually know the discipline and the writing techniques to hone that into a short story, then you can actually start going into the longer form. And those 2 short stories were short stories that we had workshopped in while I was on a writing course, and I had a couple of them, probably more than a couple, about 10, and I decided to put those 2 into competitions from following on from the advice of my tutor, and that's how I won 2 awards back to back. Since winning that competition, it made me really decide to go on for my MA. And while doing that MA, one of the good things about that MA is that's where you get feedback. Mm-hmm. So writing is a very solitary profession. And while you're writing, you need feedback. You need feedback from your peers and from your lecturers to know, am I any good? Is this story flowing? Are the characters okay? Have I got the plot? And doing that MA gave me that. Then also, in terms of you understanding the whole theory around writing, the MA also did that as well. You made contacts, you meet other writers, you meet agents. And so that's what it did for me, really. It increased my confidence in my writing.
Okay. So what other projects are you working on?
At the moment, I'm working on several projects at the moment. I'm trying to, I'm thinking of writing a Jane Austen adaptation set in Lagos. So that should be quite interesting. I'm also working on 2 Christmas stories at the moment that are going to come out. So everyone's heard it here in a couple of days' time. So I'm writing 2 Christmas novellas. One of them is about Lagos, Christmas in Lagos, and the other one is about Christmas in London. You've got one in London is called Christmas Melodies, and then the one in Lagos is called A Keresimesi Wish, which is Keresimesi. That's Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. What
in
is that?
Yoruba?
Okay, that's in Yoruba. That's the way you call Christmas.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So, Ola, can you share any writing tips, particularly for those writing short stories?
If you want to write a short story, think about it as you are capturing an element and you're writing around that. Maybe it's an experience, maybe it's a person, and then you start from that or an inciting incident. It could be maybe you woke up in the morning and found out that you lost your job. Yeah. Taking that particular incident, think about what you think about that. Think about how it's going to affect your family. Think about how that's going to affect people who depend on you. Think about that's going to affect maybe the holiday you're going to take next year and all the plans you made. And the more you begin to think about the humans that are around that particular incident, you begin to flesh it out, how they think, what they're going to say, their emotions, characterization, plot, where do they hear the news, plot, setting, voice. It's like cooking a soup. You're adding different things into it. And the more you begin to work on that, then the story begins to take shape with all the different things that I've mentioned. And that's the first one. Second one, have a passion about what you do. Yeah. And that was showing your short story. And it's not just about, those things are not just about writing short stories. It's that even extends even into the longer form, like the novel. Like it's easy to start something. You've written the first few pages, but you're talking about 70,000 words, 80,000 words. And if it's, in some cases, 120,000 words. So you've got to be able to, maintain the passion that you started the project with. So it's about that. It's about passion. It's about also make sure you read widely, read other books as well. Yeah. And that would also inform how you do. Then, go to conferences, talk to other people, network. Yeah, sure. I was networking when I, met a lady who suggested that, call me. We might be able to do something with HarperCollins. And it was while I was networking. So those are some of the advice. That's the kind of advice I would give aspiring writers, basically. Yeah.
I remember you said something about thinking about the family and stuff like that. You rightfully said about passion. So anyone who is looking to make a quick money shouldn't go into writing. No. Okay, that's good.
Definitely, because I was working full time and writing. I said writing isn't something you do because you're looking for money. I always tell people writing is something that you do because you can't imagine yourself living without doing it. And that's one thing about creatives. You will make a way. Yeah. You're in it for the long haul. This isn't a place to make a quick buck because it's a long haul and it's a journey fraught with so many rejection. Sometimes you get rejected by publishers, you get rejected by agents. You have to keep working and working and working and working. And as soon as you finish writing another book, writing one book, you have to write another and another and another. And that's how you build up your back catalogue. I'm not saying there aren't people who manage to write one book and then they start having 6 figures, but it's very rare. It seldom happens. So you've got to be ready to work on your gift and become a better writer, especially if you're planning on making a career out of it.
And when you get rejected by some publishers, do you think it's something that you can go solo and then publish the book on your own without any going through those publishers?
Yeah. I mean, I have self-published some of my books. Okay. Lovers, Leavers and Keepers is actually, I self-published it myself. Okay. The Christmas stories that are coming out in the next couple of days, I self-published them. Okay. So sometimes, as I said, you've got the traditional way of doing things, which will, get your work out there because they've got a bigger distribution network. But if you're looking at the lead time, it would take you about 2 years for that book to come out. But if you self-publish it yourself, then you are, you dictate when it's coming out.
When it's coming out. So which means that when you get this rejection from these publishers, don't give up. Keep moving. Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So where do you write?
When do I write? Or where do I write?
Where do you write?
Where?
Yeah.
In my sitting room, sometimes watching TV.
Yeah.
That's where I write. And for some people, it's like you can go to a park and write. Some people can need to go off, to some idyllic place in the countryside and write. It doesn't really matter. As long as you can just shut off the word and write. But I tend to do a lot of my writing in my sitting room at home, around my books.
So that's where you get the inspiration?
Yes.
So does traveling inspire your writing as well?
Traveling does as well. I mean, when I was in I went to Nigeria, found myself, I had a notepad with me, and I don't know what it is about Nigeria that kind of influences some of the greatest writers we've ever known. Like, got Chinua Achebe, you've got Chimamanda as well. So there's something about some of the things that you see that feel not just kind of feel with passion. That could be anger or passion, and you want to write about it. Maybe because you want to correct some things, or maybe because you just want to put it down for posterity. So traveling and writing, that's good. I like doing that as well.
Okay. So do you have to carry pen and paper or laptop?
You can just take your laptop, or sometimes just a notepad, or sometimes it's just your phone. So once I've got my phone, just go into the notes and type out a few sentences. And, when I get back to England, then I'll expand it. But at least I'm putting the idea down. Yeah, because ideas come all the time. That's why I always have a notepad with me, because I might be on the train on the way to work and something just comes up, or I just put it on my phone. Because sometimes that idea, if you don't capture it, it's gone.
It's gone. Okay. So what was the first book you read that made you kind of like a difference to you?
It was A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens.
Okay, yeah.
It made a difference to me because I kept on thinking to myself, if you had the characters, and every single decision that every character made impacted on someone else, and you're thinking, if he hadn't done that, then she wouldn't have done that. If he hadn't done that, and it just the whole play of characters, Madame Defarge, Evremond, Charles Barkley, Sidney Carton.
Carton, yeah.
Especially Sidney Carton. Everyone. It's like that whole book tells me about it's like a universal story. You've got love, you've got regret, you've got jealousy, you've got that whole thing going on with, they're sending people off to the guillotine. You've got fear, you've got power, you've got everything there. It's all inside that story. And it's a story that I've read it, I've watched the film, and I think so much you can take from it. But it inspired me basically that from people's decisions, tells you all about their character, and decisions have implications. And for a writer, that's just such fertile ground that you can do so much with.
So if we want to find out more about you, how do we do that?
Okay. I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm on TikTok. And I'm on Substack, which is my blog. And I will give you all the details for you to put up on, to put out there for people. So I'll make sure I pass those details to you.
So definitely we're going to put it down here.
Yes, definitely. You put it down in the... Yeah, so that will be, like on Instagram, it's at Ola Awonobe. On Twitter, that's at Create and Write. And on TikTok, it's 9 to 5 and Write.
Yeah.
So that's
and LinkedIn?
LinkedIn. I can't remember that one offhand.
Okay. Well, definitely we're going to write it down.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We still need to meet again. But for the meantime, that's what we have for the day. But do you think there's any other thing that I didn't remember to ask you, which you would like to let at least your readers know about?
I mean, yeah. People ask me from time to time, and I meet people and they say, I want to write a book.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between wanting to write a book and then doing the work, being prepared to do the work to get that book out. And there's something about you want to write a book, but when you publish it well. Yeah. There's something about writing a book. There's something about having a launch and people, coming to to buy the book, but will they buy the second one? Will they buy the third one? So people who know you will buy the book. So basically what I'm saying is that writing a book is no flash in the pan. It's something you would have, you'll be thinking about. I have a book coming out in July 2025.
Yeah.
From one more chapter books, HarperCollins. We've already started the networking. We've already started the social media. I'm looking at the cover. I'm looking at thinking in ways, brainstorming how I'm going to get that book out there and promote it. Sure. And if you decide to self-publish your book, there's no reason why you can't do that yourself. But so many people tend to bring out a book today and think it's going to sell tomorrow. That work should have been done probably about 6 months ahead of time. And what I want to tell people is that if you want to bring out a book that really sells, that will impact lives, you have to get a book coach. I do book coaching as well. So in terms of, helping people get that information together and sitting down and brainstorming with them how you can make that book make an impact. That's if it's non-fiction. Even if it's fiction, you're looking at your characters, you're looking at plot, you're looking at places, so many things that go into making a sweet soup.
Yeah.
And that's it. So you can either have a flash in the pan and write something that would just end up in the charity shop and people won't buy it. Or you can have something that people who don't know you will buy, because your family will buy. Your mom will buy.
Because you're not writing it just for a particular set of people. Yeah.
Yeah. Think about Universal Story, which is what I mentioned. I read Tale of Two Cities about 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still remember it years later. So think about writing a story, if you're writing fiction, that people remember for years. What is it about the characters that stay in your head? If it's non-fiction, what problem are you solving? Why would I buy your book?
Yeah.
So always think about that. If I'm writing non-fiction, why would I shell out £10 to buy your book? Or why would I download it? Because people are busy. People have so much going on for them on their phones, on their tablets, on social media. So if everything else that's going on and the different things that are competing for their attention, ask yourself, would I buy my book? And that's it.
Thank you so much for being here today. And I hope we're looking forward to hear more from you. And
thank you.
Your other book, you said the Christmas, or the one coming up very soon?
Yeah, in about a couple of days.
In a couple of days.
In a couple of days, I've got 2 Christmas books coming out.
Yeah.
One is called, so basically A Keresimesi Wish is a rebrand. It came out about 4 years ago, but I'm rebranding it again. I've changed the story around a little bit, and it's going to come out with a totally new cover. And then the second book is called Melodies of Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's coming out as well with a fantastic new, I know people are going to love it. Okay. If I may say so myself. Yeah, so those ones will be coming out on Kindle in the next couple of days. Okay. So, watch this space.
All right.
Thank you.
So you've all had what Ola Aonobi just said. And I hope you go down to Amazon and look for all these books as well.
Definitely.
So we have here Lovers, Leavers,
and
Keepers. And this one here, I think this is the second one.
No, that's the last one.
That's the last one.
That's the last one.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, so that would be that's the 7th one. That's like the 4th, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see this here, Enosis Tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we won't talk much about it. Go down to Amazon and get a copy for yourself.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being around.
Thank you so much. Thank you.